let's move back to the last thing which we have studied. Okay, so last time I have concluded my talk on that slide where I tried to explain you that there are three barriers, there are three front lines where immune system try to cope with the trouble. The first is the physical barrier, the outer skin, where it just try to stop the things to coming into the body. वहाँ पर रोकने की कोशिश करता है. The first physical way of stopping the trouble. And after that, the first responders from our body, they are called as innate immune system. The innate immune system is the built-in immune system in our body. It is a built-in system coded within our genes, which creates antibodies, which create weapons to kill the most commonly existing pathogens out there. So, जिन commonly existing pathogens के साथ हम रह रहे हैं, the most common pathogens which we are living for several thousand years, we already have answers, we already have weapons to kill those already present viruses and pathogens. But if a virus is new, got mutated, if a pathogen is new, it got mutated, a bacteria change its structure because of the mutation in the genes, that might be a different thing altogether. So in order to fight against such a new thing, our immune system needs to learn about the trouble, and that's what we call as adoptive immune system. It is also called as cell-mediated immune system or adoptive immune system. It's about looking at the trouble and then finding the actual thing about the trouble, कि trouble किस चीज की है, and then after understanding the trouble, communicating that information to the next members, and finally the next member, after getting the information, they create weapons against the pathogen, against the trouble. That is the most general way of explaining about the cell-mediated immune system or adoptive immune system. These are the things which we are working. In the coming slide, I will going to share some of the members of the immune system. Actually, I skipped one of the slides, which I am just using at this time to explain you about certain members of the immune system. This is not all, but this is just a start of about the introduction of certain components of the immune system. When we have a trouble, a pathogen try to penetrate. A pathogen,
excuse me, sir.
when a pathogen try to penetrate within our system, there are certain rangers, there are certain chokidar type of security guards which are living and staying in different parts of our body. They exist out there, and a couple of them are mentioned here. Can you see? The one is called as the macrogen. It's a kind of dendritic cell. It's a macrogen, or macrogen. It's a macrophage. Macrogen is the name of the company of South Korea, which used to create primers and others, giving other sequencing services. Macrophage is the cell which is responsible to sense the trouble for the very first time. So when a pathogen enters into our body, a pathogen enters into our system, the first responder who are living over there, the macrophages, they try to see, they try to sense, they try to catch and capture that pathogen. But I can tell you that traditionally, they try to eat that pathogen. They try to eat that thing up. How? A very famous phenomena, you know, that is called as endocytosis. There is a cell and there is a food, and the cell try to invaginate the food and try to eat it up, finish it up, full stop. So those things, the macrophages and the other cells which are present in the skin, remember, there are other type of rangers who are present within the blood system. I'm talking about the cells who are present in the skin, because they need to face a different type of pathogens. They need to face a different type of viruses or bacteria. So once a bacteria try or somehow penetrated into our body, the first respondents or the people who are responsible to sense those things, they try to capture, they try to eat that thing. When they eat and capture that stuff, a certain type of cells, and they found that thing other than the normal cells, They need to let the immune system know that I have found the trouble here. मुझे कोई गड़बड़ मिली है. I have found the bad thing. They need to let other people know there's a trouble. So those cells, they start secreting certain chemicals. I will repeat the name of those things a lot. They are called as chemokines, cytokines, some chemicals, some small proteins, some sort of things. They started secreting those things. The purpose of the secretion of these things is to let the other immune system know I have found something very bad. It is like the rangers on the border. They just spot an unusual activity on the border. The first thing, they need to alert the other people. Oh, I have found some people are trying to invade. G. Chemokines, or they are called as the cytokines. I will going to repeat those things. Idhar aaja. That's fine. Chill. ये मेरी वाली चेयर जो ना बड़ा इस पर मुश्किल से बंदा बैठता है. आपको पता है ये चेयर इस तरह की क्यों होती है? ताकि टीचर रिलैक्स ना करे. ना हाँ सही बात है. ताकि इट्स लाइक एन ऑफिस वर्किंग चेयर कि आप बड़ा एक्टिव. जो हमारे ऑफिस से मिलती है उसमें तो हम सो भी सकते हैं. So the chemokines, or I must say, they started releasing things, and what that stuff is doing, it is starting attracting the other things towards the site of the trouble. वो time लो opening में, I don't care. मेरा महीना लगता है इसके अंदर, I don't care. But I want you to be very accurate in the timeline of that action. Who is doing what, and who is doing first, and then who is doing the following. So they start secreting the chemicals, and that chemicals attract the other cells, other immune cells to run toward that site. आप देखते हैं ना खुदा ना खासा कहीं पर चोट लग गया तो वो जगह सूज जाती है. जख्म हो जाए तो वहां पर you will start feeling swelling over there, and that swelling is because of that a lot of cells are trying to be there. They are trying to reach at that place. और cells को कैसे पता लगेगा मुझे वहां जाना है? They follow and trace the chemicals or cytokines. जहां पर concentration कम होगी, from there start running towards the site जहां पर concentration ज्यादा होगी. That is the answer of a very interesting question. That how sperm is able to find the egg. It's a lot of distance. It's like a distance of miles in the perspective of sperm. The egg is present at somewhere else. The sperm started its journey from somewhere else. But how that sperm is able to see that I need to swim, I need to travel towards the direction of that egg. Because the egg is secreting such type of chemicals. And those chemicals are sensed by the sperm, which help them to move to the right, towards the right place. And that is a very wonderful molecular phenomena going on in our system. जैसे लड़के नहीं करते, लड़के करते हैं वैसे ऐसे है. हमारे पास लड़का एक ही है, दो है, मैं भी हूँ. वो जल्दी आजा, लड़ाई हो गई है ना, गड़बड़ हो गई है, आजा छारे हो मुंडे लाके उठे आजा. It will be like that. A macrophage traveling freely in the skin suddenly found a bad thing, try to eat it, and in the meanwhile secrete the chemicals. Let the others, कोई गड़बड़ आई यहाँ पर, मुंडे लाके ना थे आजो थोड़ी तौर. And they started, and then we will see the other cells who came here. And one of the cell is called as the T cell. A dendritic cell or a macrophage are kind of respondents. They capture the bad things, they try to eat it, and dendritic cells, they try to pass on that information to the next member, which are called as the T cells. They're called as the T cells. So the dendritic cells, which are carrying the information about the bad thing, abhi bhi khaya hai bad thing, and then they pass on that information to the next member, which are called as the T cell. And you should know about the T cells. They are the cells which are produced in thymus. याद है? ये वो वाले cells हैं जो thymus में actually produce होते हैं, mature होते हैं वहाँ. Once the T cell receives that information, and they get the right thing, they get the right information, they start making changes in themselves. They start proliferating, they start differentiating. The process of differentiation and proliferation. They start dividing as well as they start changing them according to the instructions they receive from the dendritic cells. Dendritic cell ने कुछ बताया ना उनको कि ये मैंने देखा है, ये देखें, पकड़ें, ये देखें, ये मैंने देखा है, something I found over there, just hold it, show it up, ये देखो, ये मैंने देखा. And then the T cells, forget about the term lymphocytes. These terms will going to confuse you a lot. Just imagine it's a kind of a cell produced in the blood. But you know, and I told you, it is a T cell. The T cell will start proliferating and start producing. Lymphocyte is more type of a general term. Maybe T cells, maybe B cells. I'm just a kind of blood cell. It gets the information and it start producing what? It start producing the differentiated form of the T cells. Now we have two types of T cells in our body. बहुत जरूरी बात, सारी molecular immunology आज खत्म हो जानी है इसमें. We have two types of T cells in our body. First, the T cells who never met a bad thing in their life, they are called as naive T cells. They are called as naive T cells. जैसे आप फ्रेशमैन नहीं होते, वेरी नाइव, सब अच्छा है, सब अच्छे अच्छे दोस्त हैं, सब फ्रेंड्स हैं, सब मेरा साथ देने वाले हैं, मेरी मुश्किलों में मेरी मदद करने वाले हैं. Naive T cells never met a bad stuff in their life. And then what I am talking right now is about this. What I am talking at this time is about this. The T cell which has met with the bad thing, here, this one, which has met with the bad thing. This T cell who just came to know about the bad thing, it is called as a final year graduating student who knows all the, you know, nitty-gritties and good and bad things, जिसको आप आराम से impress नहीं कर सकते. When somebody say मैं आपका दोस्त हूँ, वो ठीक है, जन्म का साथी हूँ, ठीक है. It's not, they are behaving in a different way. These T cells are proliferated, they are trained, they are educated. I will going to repeat these words a lot. They are trained, they are educated because of the information they receive from the dendritic cell. इनको dendritic cell से एक बात पता लगी थी. They received an information from the dendritic cells, और उसके नतीजे में they were trained. And after that, they start doing their actions. They start doing their function. Now, those T cells which are trained, which are educated, learned, experienced, they are trained to fight against that one particular bad thing. They are trained to fight against that one particular bad thing. जिनके खिलाफ वो trained हुए. This is the one front of the cell-mediated immunity. What will be the other? At the same time, the T cells as well as the dendritic cells, they activate the beta cells. They activate the beta cells. So you understand the job of the T cells somehow, little bit. You understand the trouble of some superficial job of the T cells. They get the information from the bad thing, from the macro, not from the bad thing, but from the dendritic cells. Educate themselves, proliferate themselves, differentiate themselves, prepare themselves to fight against the trouble. How? We will study later. And then they kill the problem. This is one front. What about the other front? The trouble or the lymphocytes, a general term, they also activate the beta cells. Beta cells are the other type of members of the immune system which are produced in the bone marrow. That's why they are called as the beta cells. They are different type of cells. And their job is to proliferate, differentiate, and eventually produce the plasma cells, and those plasma cells produce antibodies. Those plasma cells produce antibodies. They start secreting the antibody. And that antibodies will stay in the blood, will find the trouble, and will kill the trouble. दोनों करते हैं, दोनों ही करते हैं, but beta cells की job क्या है? They produce antibodies. Plasma cells, and then plasma cells produce actually the antibodies. Where the antibodies will stay after that? The antibodies will stay in the blood. Everywhere. It will move to all parts of the body within the blood. You see, that is why it is called as humoral immunity. It's general. It's just spreading in the blood everywhere. So, and it happens usually if the trouble is proliferating if the pathogen is in large quantity, if it is not controlled by the immune system very well. Because in that case, you need a massive response, huge amount of things within the body. The conceptual thing which you should take, kabhi galti nahi karni iske andar. If there are 100 type of pathogens entering into our body, there will be 100 T-type T cells will be educated. 100 T cells will be educated in 100 different ways. You got educated by one person in one way during the last 4 years. दुनिया में लोग अच्छे होते हैं, बहुत स्वीट होते हैं, आपका ख्याल रखते हैं, and you are educated at the same time from other person in a different way. दुनिया में लोग नहीं होते, snakes होते हैं. I'm sorry, just I'm kidding. Snakes are snakes. So if there are 100 types of ये complexity है, this is something which you need to grab in your head to understand the level of immune system. 100 types of pathogens entering into our body, 100 different types of reactions, on 100 different types of education and training sessions will be generated, which are producing 100 different types of educated T cells. Each of them, each one of the T cell is trained to fight against one particular pathogen. There will be 100 different types of beta cells will be generated, or all those 100 different types of beta cells will produce 100 different types of plasma cells, and those 100 different types of plasma cells will produce 100 different types of antibodies. And each one of the antibody is designed and trained to fight against one pathogen. Look how expensive that thing is. If I ask you which one of the process is more easy to deal, is less expensive, it's an innate immune system or adoptive immune system? Innate immune system. A problem is there, we have a solution, pass, shoot, kill, finish. But triggering the adoptive immune system means you are going to use hell of the resources of your body. Triggering the adoptive immune system. How much time an innate immune system will going to take to kill the trouble? Less than a day or a few hours. I mean, the trouble is there, the solution is there, finish. How much time you can expect from the adoptive immune system to solve the trouble? At least 3 to 5 days. Should be some time, because they need to learn the trouble, and then the cells needs to divide, to proliferate, to produce more things. So it should going to take some time. So on a genuine ground, if you get sick with a new thing, your body will going to take some time in order to fight against that trouble. अगर एक नई किस्म का बैक्टीरिया बॉडी में आता है, your body will start learning about the bacteria and then start producing the appropriate weapons to kill that bacteria. That will going to take some time. And the wonderful concept is that if you intervene that procedure with the help of some medications, with the help of some antibiotics, एक दिन हो गया, your immune system is fighting, you started feeling the symptoms, you go to the doctor feels on the second day you are young, you can fight with you are healthy, you are eating good, you are doing fine, you are moving around, and your age is letting the doctor know that this boy or a girl is strong enough to fight with the trouble. The doctor will avoid the antibiotic. A good doctor will avoid the antibiotic. But on the other case, if a doctor wants to get famous, he wants to, you be a messiah. कि मैं आप मेरे पास तकलीफ में आया, मैं आपकी तकलीफ दूर कर रहा हूं. He gave you an antibiotic. The antibiotic will going to kill the pathogen by itself. The antibody will going to kill the pathogen by itself. What that mean? The adoptive immune system, which is already trying to fight and to find the answer for that pathogen, is blocked. It's stopped. It's no longer required. If you understand the trouble and use your adoptive immune system, at the end of the day, you will develop antibodies, and those antibodies and that learning experience will stay into your body. The T cells which were designed, their design, their prints, their blueprints will stay into your body for the rest of your life. You do not need to worry about the same pathogen again. But if you intervene that system